Video games. Some parents love them, some tolerate them, others outright hate them. As you can tell by the title of this video, we're down with them. So we're going to share some of the reasons why we think video games are pretty cool for kids. Ricky, kick us off.
I have to admit that I used to be in the camp of, I don't like video games.
Yeah.
I had to be convinced, and now I can see there's many benefits. But to begin with, even as a child, the only real love I had for video games was I won this game, a little Pac-Man game, in a colouring in competition, and it was like a little yellow box sort of thing, and it was very basic.
That would be worth a fortune now.
Yeah, I know. But it would engage me for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes max, maybe half an hour sometimes, but I had very little interest in it. My dad brought home an Apple I, an Apple II, and there were a couple of games on that, little brick out. Oh, yeah, that was pretty cool for a little while. And I enjoyed watching my sister play a couple of computer games, little adventure games. But other than that, I couldn't stand them. I just had no interest whatsoever. And then when I became a parent, I was dead certain that our kids would not be playing video games and would not be using screens and especially not violent games, all that sort of thing. I even had an issue very early on when our first was 4 years old and someone introduced Angry Birds to, and I was like, that was horrifying. So it's just to give you an idea of where I've come from completely, I'd much rather be out in the backyard digging in dirt than playing computer games, and that's what I expected. Was hoping that our children would be doing all the time. But living in an apartment with a balcony, even our soil on our balcony comes from a factory. It's made of, potting mixes, and you get it in a bag and you put it in, it's not even real soil. So we live 2 floors up from the dirt sort of thing. So we're miles away from the actual earth where I thought our kids would be playing all the time. So the number one thing I love about computer games is their sense of adventure and storytelling. And because we don't have a backyard, our kids have been able to explore so many places and go on so many adventures, even when, it's just not convenient to go to the park, not convenient to get outside, not convenient to go anywhere. It's like they can go on adventures all over the world, learn about mythology and all the beautiful stories being told right here at home in our concrete jungle. And they can go on beautiful fields with flowers and amazing adventures. So I'd have to say that's my number one thing that I love about computer games, is that they can still get out there even while they're stuck inside.
I'm glad that you can value that. I totally get what you're saying, and it would be lovely if we were just living out somewhere where we had all this space. And we kind of do, I guess, in the city we can use communal spaces. We can use parks. There's no reason why we can't do that.
But just not out in the backyard.
No, and it's convenient also, isn't it? To just immerse yourself in a world that's right there for you to explore, and you can do it at any time. At night time, you're not really going out there in the jungle, but you can virtually, so.
Yes, exactly.
I'm glad you can see that. That's really nice.
How about you? What's your first thing you love about computer games?
They're fun. I think there's a real judgment when it comes to video games. So the only reason we're discussing this is because people say there's something wrong with it. No one says there's anything wrong with knitting. Right? People knit, and if you spent all day knitting, people, they could, become a fashion designer when they grow up or whatever. But video games are seen as a vice. So there's already a judgment about it. But why are we kink shaming people? If that's your thing, well, you're into video games, sure.
I had to face that very thing as well, thinking, why am I judging video games? Having fun and playing is so important, and everyone can do it in their own way.
Exactly. So I don't think it's fair to tell other people what fun should look like.
Exactly. Now,
you also said that you only played this Pac-Man game for 10 or 15 minutes. Well, when I used to climb trees, it's not like I climbed trees all day. I'd climb a tree and then I'd get down and that would be it, and I'd go home. So I kind of feel that, you do whatever you do for as long as you want to do it. I could play tennis for a long, long time. Other people are like, oh gosh, I've got to do a tennis lesson. I don't want to go. It's too early. Whereas for me, I can't wait. So I think people should be allowed to pursue their interests.
I 100% agree.
So they're fun. And if someone likes it, great. And if you think it's too much fun, as if your kids are, not doing anything else, well then make sure that thing that you offer them is just as good. It's like a free market principle, really.
Yeah.
Let the market decide.
Yeah.
What's your next one, Ricky?
It's about reading and learning to read.
Yep.
And our second child, he basically taught himself to read by playing a video game, Breath of the Wild.
Yep.
And it was just because he got sick of asking family members, what does this say? What does that say? What's that? You know, what's that? So he loved the game. He really loved the game. He would be making potions and cooking up things. And even though there were pictures there, but a lot of the time it was hard to tell because it was some sort of monster gut or something, you know, and he'd have to find out what. So I love the fact that he just, through his love of wanting to or his need of wanting to find out exactly what each thing was, he just taught himself to read pretty much overnight.
It amazed me,
actually.
Yeah, and some of the words are pretty complex.
Yeah.
Like just the letters T-I-O-N, to know that that ends in a shin.
Yes.
And that he worked that out was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was.
And he reads at quite a high level now. And really, it hasn't been much intervention by us. I really don't think, other than pointing out one or two words here and there.
And just reading books out loud, but other than that,
But he's just done it all himself, and it started with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So, yes, thank you for that, Nintendo.
Yes.
And, of course, he loved the journey. He was having fun while he was doing it. Isn't that what you want? Your kids to have fun while they're learning?
Yeah. And one of the most memorable family moments that I think we all share was watching our youngest do this trial. And it was one of the most entertaining and exhilarating experiences where he had to go through a course of
the trial of the sword.
Trial of the S word, as he likes to call it. And it was like, I'll never forget it. It was like we were cheering. It was like Wimbledon or something for someone close to us. You know, It was such a fantastic experience, and it really, and by that stage I'd already sort of embraced computer games, you know, flipped completely from anti-computer game to, wow, these are actually really great. But it was so much fun and such a adventure.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your next one, Kiwi?
Follows on from the trial of the S word. The trial of the sword. It's persistence.
Yeah.
So video games, gaming in general, gamify things. And the whole idea of gamifying something is to create an enticement for the user to get to that level. So dangling the carrot and then they get there. And of course, there's so many things in gaming to achieve, you know, medals and rewards and levels, whatever it is. And I think it really helps kids with persistence because you want to beat that boss. You want to solve that puzzle. You want to get there. So to watch our son go through a lot of heartache. So I shouldn't say him. I mean, I've gone through it too.
Yeah.
I've gone through so many things where I've got to the final boss and I can't beat them. So I leave the game for ages and then I'm like, no, I've got to come back to it and finish this game.
Yeah.
So I think it's really good with teaching kids persistence.
Yeah.
I've heard it described as sticking it with itness. And you just push on and you just try to learn the controls. You learn whatever you need to do. You learn so much and you work hard.
Yeah, I've seen our youngest in particular get a lot of grit from, you know, he'd go from wanting to throw the controller to sort of, I'm going, wow, he didn't react that time. He was like really calm. He's just go, I'll try it again. It's like, wow. You know? So yeah, it develops a lot of persistence.
And there's nothing wrong with throwing the controller. It's going to happen where you get so upset with something. I've punched pillows.
Yeah, and our eldest actually he's found controllers in bulk waste collection piles, and he's sold broken controllers, and he's asked to the buyer when they come to pick it up, you know, why do you want to buy a broken controller? He's, with spare parts because I smashed my last one. I got, angry from...
it was Fortnite,
right. Throwing his controller against the wall. So, yeah, it's
a thing. Yeah. So, look, the persistence.
Yes, I agree.
Ricky, give us your next one.
My next one is kind of like a double-edged sword. So there's a lot that I love about this point, but there's also things that I really struggle with.
Yeah, right.
So it's the fact that kids can, when they buy things, like whether it's a skin, or a weapon or whatever it is that they're buying.
Our kids would never buy skins.
They don't actually have to buy physical stuff.
Yes.
So they're not buying plastic or not buying stuff that's just accumulating and
a million Happy Meal toys or something.
Yeah. It didn't have to be produced in some sweatshop, they're buying virtual things.
Yeah.
So I like that idea, but at the same time, I feel as if that approach creates like this sense of, well, you can buy, and of course if they change their mind the next day, it's just sitting in some inventory kind of thing. Whereas if you buy lots of stuff, you see it piling up around you. You have to maintain it, you have to clean it, you have to put, you have to find a place for it.
Or eventually throw it out in the council pickup.
And eventually throw it out. Exactly. Yeah. So virtual buying, I kind of, grown to like the idea in terms of, well, you don't have to store the stuff and it's not material stuff that's coming from the earth, but there's not that same sense of responsibility and that feeling of, wow, well, I need to take care of this thing, or it's very sort of flippant purchases because it doesn't really matter that much, because if you don't end up liking it, it just sort of gets forgotten in the file kind of thing. But when you buy something material or you make something or you have something that's there, there's so much more of an experience with that, and that feeling of, wow, well, I brought this into our home and now I've got to do something with it, So I like it, but I don't like it.
Yeah. I'm the same. I agree with you, everything you've just said. And it kills me when it's like, oh, look, there's this pack. Oh, I really need this skin. And then he buys it. And look, the thing is, he buys it with money that he gets from collecting cans out of bins. So it's kind of like, fine, he's earning the money.
Yes.
And it's not wasteful because he's using waste to fund it. That's okay in my mind. But at the same time...
Still real money. It took a long time to get it out of the bin,
The amount of money he spent on skins.
Yeah.
But
probably thousands.
But he doesn't spend money on anything else. No. And like we said, it's free money.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's my hard-earned from going to work.
Yes.
It's his sticking his hand in a bin and... And that's fine if that's what you want to spend it on. Again, why kink shame people? If that's what you do.
Exactly. We don't let him spend, well, not that we don't let him spend, but we encourage him not to spend his birthday money and gifts, that sort of thing.
Real money.
Yeah, it has to come from the garbage.
Yeah, and I guess that's worked well. Actually, he hasn't bought anything for ages.
No, he hasn't.
Well, he's saving up for a gaming PC.
Yeah.
Which, who knows if he's going to get.
Yes.
But,
yeah. So, Kiwi, how about one more?
It's fantastic for problem solving. So our kids have played Minecraft, where they've become really good at it, building with cool stuff like redstone. I don't understand Minecraft.
I can't even walk without breaking bricks.
I know. I feel really dumb playing Minecraft because everyone can play it. 5-year-old kids can play it. And I'm like, I don't really get this. And the kids laugh at us. And like, are you an actual idiot?
They actually do say that.
Well, one of them says that. For those of you who know us, I'll let you guess which child asked us that. So it's fantastic for pattern recognition, problem solving, everything. And it's like chess. It can make you smarter. It doesn't necessarily mean you're smart, but it can improve your thinking. And a game like The Legend of Zelda, actually Skyward Sword has some of the best puzzles I've seen in any game. The kids also play Immortals Phoenix Rising, which has some pretty cool puzzles. Tetris. All these things I think are positive.
Yeah, definitely.
And they really help the kids with learning this and that, and also the persistence from that. I talked about persistence in the last point, but so many times the kids have said, oh, how do I get past this point? I'm like, okay, what do you think that says? What do you think this thing does here? Oh, right. And then they work it out from there. So it's really nice to see them get there, and that satisfaction from solving a puzzle as well is really good for a child. So as a homeschooling tool, I think video games do have a place, especially for something like Minecraft. Like Ricky mentioned, learning to read, as well as learning to budget.
Yeah.
All sorts of things. So I don't think video games are all that evil. And look, what's wrong with kids having some fun? I guess the issue is having it too much and just focusing on the one thing and I suppose developing an addiction. But that could be anything.
Exactly.
It's not necessarily video games.
Exactly.
And if you look at our eldest son, he barely touches video games now, and he could do whatever he wants with his time.
And we still, even though they do love computer games quite a lot, especially our youngest, we're always trying to reconnect them to nature as well. So even if we're driving along in the car, we go, oh, there's an apple tree, let's stop, let's pick an apple, or, let's go mulberry picking, let's go to the bush, let's, go find some eels, or, we're always trying to bring them back out into nature, but they're here to stay, computer games, and
exactly
trying to get some balance.
And why fight a multi-billion-dollar industry? It's a legitimate business. It's something that the kids can go into one day in some capacity.
Yeah.
So even if you're worried about employment, well, there's a huge field out there. You never know where this life thing is going. So let the kids enjoy their journey.
That's right.
So anyway, that's our take on video games. I think they're pretty positive. Like anything, it can be negative as well. And it's up to the individual to figure that out for themselves. And we're just here to support them, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, we'd love to know what you think about video games. Please drop a comment below. Give us a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you.
See ya. Thanks.